Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Shouts out to Long Handled Spoon. He expounded on the motive of hatred that you see. He was talking about a shooting in Atlanta, and the shooting in Atlanta seems to be a man that was at a Subway and he got a sandwich and it was too much mayonnaise, so we shot the lady. And my suspicion, based on how Subway even works, is that that's not what it's about. This man is either one of the few insane people that actually does carry not only a weapon, but a firearm. That's pretty rare in Atlanta. At least it was when I lived there. Or it wasn't about the mayonnaise to begin with. I suspect he probably, unless he didn't see her, he probably asked for no mayonnaise, or maybe he never mentioned mayonnaise at all. Or maybe mayonnaise wasn't even the real thing. I mean, a lot of times I realize law enforcement does not, or newscasters, don't adequately report and accurately report what's really happening here. I'm beginning to notice that a lot. They are reporting what they want. They're reporting what they need, or just what they want to remember. Or they're not really reporting. So maybe the police told them one thing and they got something else. I noticed that. But one thing is that when I was younger, I noticed that brothers did too, especially if they were raised by sisters. But I noticed that sisters had this thing of halfway listening. Now, when I was a kid, it seemed everybody was a terrible listener. But as I got older, I began to realize that men were better listeners and women were not. They were not becoming better listeners. If you witness some dudes running a train on some chick, and you tell some lady later that you've witnessed this, she hears that you sat back as a bystander while a bunch of dudes gang snuggled this chick, meaning a crime, without her consent. That's what they hear. And then they assume that you actually participated because you said that you witnessed it. So it goes from you witnessing a consensual train, and you were probably only telling her this because you're saying like that was the day that you realized that running a train was real. You thought it was not real. And then that day you saw, if no, that this does happen in real life. It's not just jokes and movies. And then, so you tell her this, and it goes from that to you participated in a gang snuggle of some chick. You see the difference? You can't win, gentlemen. You can't communicate with them. Well, this also goes, and I know that because that's one thing that happened with me. And a chick that said this about me actually was someone that had a crush on me, but I wasn't that interested, and it wasn't really her fault anyway. Make a long story short, look, I was, when I was young, I noticed that in fast food places, sisters they really don't like working those jobs. I don't blame them. I don't like them either. But they would get stuff wrong all the time. And they don't care. They hate it and they don't care. So you could say that you were going to get this particular burger, but no mayonnaise, please. And you get extra mayonnaise on it. The opposite. I began to notice that this went beyond just they can't ever get my order right. I began to notice too that something else happened as well. And that is that I would go in at times and somebody who was in line behind me would get their order ahead of me. Usually he was considerably bigger, scarier looking than I was and than I am. And so when I see that, I actually dislike that a lot. And I stopped talking with these um, employees after a while about getting orders right. I eventually I just stopped going to fast food joints in the States um, because of that. One, I wanted to eat healthier, but two, I began to notice that they just get it wrong. They don't care. Screw it up. And then look at you like, so what? And yeah, I upped up your order. So naturally, I got tired of this mess. And I thought it was just that they were doing this to me because I wasn't scary looking and they didn't like their job. So they were going to save their attention for the guy that scared them. That's what I thought was going on. I, like with a lot of things that sisters do, I thought it was subconscious that they didn't fully realize they were doing it. Now we know that they realize it because they're confessing on social media. But they've been playing stupid all this time. They're not. The other thing is that I really opened this up because I wanted to talk more so um, about what happens when it becomes a part of their personality. Y'all might remember Tierra Allen that got into it in Dubai. She got in trouble. And the same thing happened with some sister, and Destro Reborn covered that on his channel. Destro said, he said that she was out of line. It was another sister. She was out of line. She was out of pocket, talking about Dubai is ghetto. But in the course of saying that Dubai is ghetto, he showed another video of her back in the States saying, look, you can use food stamps to wash your clothes at this laundromat. Come on, get it, get it. And then he pans right back to the video of her saying Dubai is ghetto. Look, she's a ratchetisha. She got a passport. She went over there. And I can understand kind of how she got into some arguments. Kind of, except for one thing. See, when you go to Qatar and the UAE, a lot of the people that you come across working speak many languages, and English is usually one of them. So the communication barrier is not there that readily. When you're in Saudi Arabia, you have far fewer people that are bilingual and can speak English. You have many people who don't speak Arabic and they don't speak English. They literally speak no language that is useful outside of their own nationality. I'm not joking. And they got jobs. And you got to sit there and either choose to not deal with their business or sit there and try to deal with them. You could, I mean, errands that are very simple for my wife are damn near impossible for me sometimes. You have Saudis who can only speak slang. They can't speak Arabic, just slang. So if we talk on the phone, never mind, because they can't speak Arabic and I can't speak slang. And they have no patience because Saudis are not a patient people, especially Bedouins. And I have no patience because I got a job and time is not, I don't get to waste time. Time is tight for me. So that's why it is that there are situations that are normal interactions in the US and even in the other neighboring Gulf countries, they're not normal interactions in Saudi Arabia. There are people that don't speak Arabic slang or Arabic or English. There are some people who speak nothing of value. And I also want to give a shout out to Corey P. Corey P. I say that because I just got a notification just now that he went on buy me a coffee and bought some coffees, became a business class flyer. I just got that notification as I was recording this. And the thing is, Corey, I saw on Facebook what you have been dealing with. I saw that just less than an hour ago by coincidence. Um, where you described what your mom had done. And I'm really sorry to see that. I was planning on writing something about that later on Facebook, um, about your case, because for her to be your first bully, um, it's deeply scarring. It's a pretty intense form of rejection. And granted, I don't know her side of the story, but you know what? Um, if I don't get an opportunity to hear it, I'm going to start with your side because you told your side. You're going through what quite a few brothers go through, and I didn't have to go through this. I saw some inward dysfunction in both of my parents, some of that plantation nigga trauma. But my parents were really pretty good, and they worked on this stuff. And I wanted this for a bunch of other of my friends and my people, but a lot of us didn't get this. My parents' circle of friends were generally good parents too, but I've begun to realize as I've gotten older how many people had bad parents. Now, I don't know how many parents were bad because that's different than the number of people that had bad parents. It could be that bad parents have more children. I don't know, but my heart went out to you, Corey. So getting back to this boom shika in Dubai, um, did not have to face what I've had to face. It's harder in Saudi than it is in the other Gulf nations. The education is weaker. The English education is even weaker. And you have people here whose English is up and they are looking at me in my advanced English class. I met them yesterday. We started classes. They don't know past tense of any verb at all, but they're in my advanced English class. They are using the verb be in front of another verb. I am ask him. No, bro, we don't do that. I told him, you use Arabic in my class in a full sentence, you're going to lose out. You know what happened? They started doing it. Communication here can be pretty difficult. Um, and in the city in which I live, there are more people that are bilingual now. But where I got started, first in a city called Ar. It's not even a city, really. It's more like a town, a village. They got an airport and a bus station, but they're straight Bedouin, just Bedouin, Bedouin, Bedouin. They don't speak Arabic. They don't speak English. They don't, nothing. Just you can barely communicate. You meet somebody that's bilingual, and then everybody else moves in to try to separate you from them because they want you to become like them. And I realized later that a lot of them were afraid that the educated bilinguals were going to tell you the truth about them. That's the other thing, too. Then I moved from there to another slightly bigger city, and it was a little bit better there. So I've always moved to a better place than what I lived in. But where I got started, it was bad. And I'd been through other towns, too, and it was bad. It was jacked up. That's what it is in Saudi. You go into Dubai, it's not like that. You go into smaller cities in the United Arab Emirates, it ain't like that. You go into Muscat and Oman, it ain't like that. You go to Abu Dhabi and the UAE, it ain't like that. I've been to Qatar just recently, Doha, a few weeks ago. Say about 7 weeks ago. And it was cold. A lot of people there speak English and some other language. I've seen Bahrain before. Many people there are bilingual. Most of the police officers there are bilingual. You come into Saudi, you hardly ever meet a bilingual police officer. That's what it's like. This lady here was sitting up here arguing with Indians And here's the thing, you don't really meet a lot of Emiratis. When you go there, most of the people you meet are not there. I mean, they make up a small percentage of the population. You see them, you don't meet them a lot. That's the other thing I want y'all to notice. Because the population ain't that big. But she's over there arguing with other foreigners. She doesn't understand. When you were there, if there's a foreigner that's living in the Emirates legally and they haven't committed any crime, and then you go there as a first time visitor and you act the uck fuck and you get into a conflict with them, the fact that the system knows they have lived there long enough and not committed any crimes that they would have been deported versus you going there and getting into an argument means that they got the upper hand. Not because they're not black, like some of you would think. That's not the way that works. Now, I will tell you this. In Dubai, they don't like Nigerians. That's true. Sadly, no one does. And it's jacked up because the reason is because of a particular group that causes most of the trouble. But everyone knows they're Nigerian. So the other Nigerians that are not from this language group wind up suffering. But the point is, they do look at Nigerians. So if you are black and you're not a black Arab, they already looking at you suspect because they don't know what you're going to be. And now start adding to that black American women. They're going to start looking and saying, oh, they're problematic. That's already begun in some other places. The walls are closing in on these sisters. I want you to understand that they know that. This chick knew that. She's not going over there acting a fool, thinking that she just doesn't care what that's going to do for black women's reputation when she goes abroad. That's not what it is. You know what it is? Number one, who they are, eventually they give to other men they don't even plan on giving it to. That's the first thing I want y'all to realize. They may think consciously before they go, I'm going over there. It's their house. I'm going to be nicer to these other men because they ain't these ghetto N words over here. So when I get them, I'll be nicer. But then they get over there and they realize that a lot of people from a particular part of the world, and it's not the Arab world, but they realize that a lot of people from other parts of the world, well, a particular part of the world, but they're heavy in Dubai, don't pay attention. Now, their language skills tend to be okay in terms of English, but they really don't pay attention. I'm just telling y'all straight up, a lot of people from northern India, I don't know about the South, but a lot of people from northern India don't pay attention. They just don't. Maybe you say, yeah, you jump into a taxi and you're like, yeah, I want to go to the mall. Okay. And you're trying to tell him what mall. He's like, okay, no problem. He just keeps on interrupting. Okay, no problem. So yeah, they're going to make you mad. Now, what's going to happen is that if you a sister from the States and you used to disrespecting black men and you used to disrespecting the Indian man at the bodega because you think Indians can't fight, and then you get an Indian man driving you a taxi, driving you in the taxi in Dubai, and he just doesn't pay attention, you're going to think, oh, well, you know what? I mean, I'm finna really show out and act a fool. I didn't say this mall. This ain't the mall I asked you to take me to. And I'm going to act a mother cuss word fool. So what I want y'all to realize is that these women here have been going over there to Dubai and they've been acting a fool with non-Emirati men because the legal system there is stronger than what they realize. But the other thing too is that the Emirati men are very nice. They may walk away from a conflict, but if they don't walk away, you don't let them walk away, they're going to slap the black off you. Or they're going to call the cops and the cops better do what they tell them if they got witnesses. They're over there messing with foreign men, giving foreign men troubles. They're over there arguing with men from India and Pakistan. That's what's going on over there. And they're doing that because they used to being disrespectful. See, we have to realize that Keisha ain't only disrespectful to us, she's the most disrespectful to us. And she's worse with us. But eventually, that inner boom shika comes out on anybody that irritates her but doesn't scare her. Some Arab men scare sisters, some Arab men don't. But Indian men don't scare sisters. That's what people don't realize. But I did want you guys to pay attention to this, though, and understand that this spills over. What you're looking at is the spillover. And eventually, if these sisters lose fear of other groups of men, it's going to be bad for them too. And part of the problem is that sisters are only sexually attracted to men that they can feel fear of too. You have to also keep that in mind. You can, and so therefore, if they don't fear a man, they don't respect him. So fear, lust, and respect go hand in hand with them for the same men. The men that they do not fear, they do not respect, and they do not lust after. The minute these men do anything to irritate them, these sisters go off the mother cuss word handle. And you're seeing them do this over there in the Emirates with men that they neither lust after, fear, nor respect. That's what you're looking at. That's what you're seeing. It's going to get worse. And bros, to be honest with you, it's actually probably going to be a better look for you to not be seen with those women if you go into those places. Maybe you shouldn't go to the Emirates with your Western wife if you're married, or your girlfriend. Because it could get to a point where they just look at you and then they wonder what the hell's wrong with you because you with her. It's different. When I travel to any of these places with my wife, she's Muslima. She dresses like one. She can speak Arabic like they do, speak English like me. And then she comes across another Somali, she can speak Somali to them. It's a different situation. I'm not out there walking with Boom Shika. And to be honest with you, even if you are an African American Muslim and your wife is African American Muslim, you may not want to travel there with her either. And she's going to have all this attitude, and she just got to show her attitude sometimes and show that she's outspoken and she's a strong woman. If that's what the kind of person she is, you may not want to be out there with her, because then they'll look at you and say, wait, you Muslim, why are you with her? Because notice, accountability commentary has been right about something. He's been saying this, and he's not the only one. He's been saying that eventually the Keisha you get is going to be the same Keisha that the others get too. She's going to eventually, as she loses her fear of them or her respect, becomes familiar with these other dudes, she starts to show out with them too. She does that. She'll act the same way with them. And that's going to be bad. Um, but know that what they're trying to do, keep this in mind too. Know that what they're trying to do is that they're trying to ruin it, not for themselves, but for you. Keep that in mind. They're trying to mess things up for you when you go over there. Since you're not going to go there, act out, act a fool, you know how to act. They want to turn around and mess it up for you since you won't mess it up for yourself. I hope that what I've said helps you as you move around. Thanks for listening. As always, black heart, black mind, blackout, assalamu alaikum, black heterosexual, non-select male power because they don't like it, black patriarchy until extinction of judgment day. And thank you all for flying with us here again on Jet Black Airways, where the phrase jet black is also a verb. Keep jet black with us till the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender, justice, forever.